you recently hit 1 million on YouTube, and you're just a few thousands away from hitting 1 million on Instagram as well. And I'm pretty sure your bank balance is 1 million and over, but let's not get into that. What is the secret formula? All right, welcome back to indigomusic.com, and this week it is Money Talk Week, and who better to talk about money than Ankur Warikoo, who's an entrepreneur, a teacher, a content creator, a mentor, and he was also part of Fortune magazine's 40 under 40 list for India, and also India's top executives under 40 by Business Today. I am absolutely thrilled, and I already feel like after this interview, my bank balance is going to do way better. Hopefully, I have Ankur Warikoo with me. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Melbin, for having me. It's such a joy to be talking to you today.
All right. Likewise, very excited about this. And Ankur, firstly, let's address something massive that happened for you. You recently hit 1 million on YouTube, and you're just a few thousands away from hitting 1 million on Instagram as well. And I'm pretty sure your bank balance is 1 million and over, but let's not get into that. What is the secret formula to becoming successful as a content creator on YouTube? Why don't you give us a tip on that first up?
I've spoken about this actively, Melvin, and I think the biggest thing, which is also the easiest answer, but not the one that is the answer that most people are looking for, is a combination of authenticity and consistency.
Right.
If you have to do something, you might as well do something that is authentically you, because that's the best way to ensure that you can show up easily every single day and not have to become someone else to do it. And if you do it consistently, then over time, it will just compound. A lot of people do not know this. I started my YouTube channel 4 years back in August 2017. So what they see as an overnight success is 4 years in the making. And Instagram was almost 3 years back. So there is a lot of that goes behind it. But frankly, the answer is the boring answer. It is consistency. It is doing what you do, and it is showing up just as who you are every single day.
All right. Wow. And also, look, I mean, being authentic, I think a lot of people can actually work on that. Yeah, but consistency, I think, is the most difficult thing. So is there something that you had to do specially to ensure that that happens for you, or was it just easy in the beginning?
For me personally, the shortest way of ensuring consistency is to create a process and just be committed to that process. A lot of people, especially when it comes to creativity, think that creativity is like this flash in the pan. You just get this stroke of genius one fine day, one fine moment, and then that's where things happen. But that's the one-off, one-hit wonder, which is, we know the story of how it goes. It never sustains itself. If you want to be consistent, if you want to build something for the long term, then you've got to commit yourself to a process. And that could be a process of ideation. It could be a process of content creation. It could be a process of shipping, so on and so forth. So and when I say we, I do have a team that helps me do this. I don't do it myself, and I couldn't have done it myself. But we just organize ourselves into a well-oiled machine where everyone's task is well understood. Everyone is accountable for that task. Everyone does that one bit and does it well. And we're just sticking to it. That's all that there is.
All right, fantastic. And thanks to you and your team, a lot of people are doing well for themselves as well these days. And so we really appreciate the work that you and your team are doing. And Ankur, let's get into it now. I mean, what is that one piece of financial advice that changed your life personally?
I think the biggest thing that struck me, and this wasn't so much of an advice on what to do, but an advice on what not to do, is all of us have a relationship with money that we very rarely understand, because money in general is not spoken about in the Indian culture and context. We don't grow up hearing about money from our parents. We are never taught or trained on it. So we develop some sort of a emotional and a psychological relationship with money without even realizing that we are in a relationship with it. And that relationship surrounds ourselves with how we see risk. So how do we interpret risk and the joy of making money or the risk of losing it? How do we look at growth? How do we look at consistency? How do we look at patience? All of that combined then shapes up our identity around money. And the one piece of advice that I got once I had made a cluster of mistakes in my life around money was, do not treat money with disrespect. And I say this because in India, very often, making money is considered to be not the right thing to do. Someone who's money-minded is considered to be, oh my God, you're money-minded. That means you're not the right intent.
Right.
But there is a difference between running after money and being able to go beyond money. And to be able to go beyond money, you need to respect money for what it does.
Right.
It is necessary. It's an important component of our life. You don't have to commit your life to making money and become a slave to it. You need to master it, but that will only happen when you don't dismiss it for what it is worth. So disrespecting money means, oh, I can make a lot of money in a very short period of time because what's money? I know better than that. That's disrespecting money. Oh, I will never be able to make money, and someone who chases money is a wrong person and I want to be committed to something else ideologically. That is disrespecting money. Oh, I am going to do everything possible to make so much money that I never have to worry about money, but at the expense of my relationships, my time with myself, so on and so forth. That's disrespecting money. So it takes different shapes and form, but don't disrespect money.
All right. Well, it was never going to be easy. So, I guess you answered my next question, which was how can everyone make money work for them instead of working for money? So, in a way, I think you've already answered that question. But is there maybe a simple answer to answer that question?
The one big thing is the difference between an asset and a liability. And I don't want to get into accounting, but I want to speak about real life. When we buy something, if it appreciates in value, then that is an asset. If it depreciates in value, it is not an asset. So when we say buy a car, it depreciates in value. People think of it as an asset. It's not. When you buy an expensive phone or a watch or whatever it is. By that same measure, if you have to spend your own time to make money, that means you're still a slave to money. Because if you stop working or if you stop spending that time, you're going to be out of money. So what you ought to do, the best way to make money is to actually own assets. When you own assets, you don't have to work to make money. They're making money for you. So imagine if you have a stock of a company. You can sleep for the rest of your life, but someone in that company is working really hard to make that stock grow in value, which is your asset. And that's a smart way of thinking about it. But if you think that you're going to become rich by just having a job and getting a salary, then that's the wrong way of thinking about money. You have to make money, whichever way it is, through a job, through whatever else it is, and then invest that money in buying assets that grow in value.
All right, very well said. And a lot of people don't also do that because it sounds complex. It sounds complicated. The minute someone hears stock market, they get scared. They're like, oh my God, I won't understand it. So is that all mental? Is it simpler than we think it is? Or do you think there is a little bit of effort that needs to be made?
Things have gotten considerably easier. I wouldn't call it simple because if it was simple, then everyone would be doing it. It is complex in the nature of, again, going back to the relationship that I spoke about, Melbin, that we do not know how to deal with volatility. So if it's fixed deposits, we love it because our parents are like, oh my God, that's awesome. You put your money in and irrespective of what happens, you just keep getting the same rate of return. But guess what? That rate of return is not exciting. It's not going to change your life. That rate of return is just as best protecting your money, but it's not growing your money. If you want to grow your money, you will have to take some risk. And risk means there will be ups, there'll be downs, there'll be ups, there'll be downs. But if you commit yourself to a really long period of time, that is when you will see that power of compounding. So I go back to one conversation that happened between Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, who are one of the two richest people on earth. And Bill Gates is asking Warren Buffett, hey, Warren, your investment principle or your investment philosophy seems so simple. Just buy something valuable and hold on to it for the rest of your life. How is it that you're so successful and most people are not? And Warren says it's because no one wants to get rich slowly. And that's the problem. Either we want to get rich really fast. So who's going to wait for 10 years for this money to grow? Or we never want to take any risk, which is like put all the money in FD. Both of these options are wrong. They're not going to play out. So you have to be patient and you have to be comfortable with risk.
So patience is another key, and you need that characteristic, or you need to build it in order to make money. But okay, let's talk about something that is everyone is talking about these days, cryptocurrency. And a lot of people probably did get rich. I mean, not quickly. I mean, there was a lot of patience involved with crypto as well, obviously. But everyone's talking about it. You can see it in ads when you're watching a cricket match these days. Everyone is advertising about it. It's really becoming a big thing in India. Your thoughts on crypto and the sort of potential it has?
So it has potential from a really long-term perspective. I am a believer in crypto. I'm not endorsing it when I say that. I'm just saying that I believe in it. But when I say I believe in it, it means that I only invest in tokens which are very well known, very well established, and I don't buy them with the intention of selling them. I buy them with the intention of holding on to them for the longest time ever.
Okay.
Crypto is a bad thing if you think of it as something that can make you overnight money. So you want to invest in those very quick,
your meme
coins and your meme coins and you Shibus and your Doges of the world. You're essentially gambling. And if you believe in gambling as a way of making money, sure, I would not do that with my own money, and nor would I endorse it. But that's what a lot of people go up for. And a lot of investing in crypto is also happening because of the four-letter word FOMO. And FOMO is not an investment strategy. FOMO is not an investment strategy. Just because the world's doing it and you're not, does not make it into a good strategy for you.
Absolutely.
Only do it if you understand it. Only do it because you're willing to let that money go to even zero if it goes to it. That means I would not put more than 5 to 10% of my total investment portfolio into crypto. And if I do, I would hold on to it for 5-10 years at least.
Right. All right. So that's one thing that I hear from a lot of people on YouTube. Only put in 5 to 10% of your portfolio. So it's always interesting. Where does the rest of the portfolio go? Is it real estate? Is it stocks? Or what else? What else is that?
If I were to make a recommendation, though I don't like to be prescriptive, but if you're in your 20s, which is a decade of you being able to take risks and also have lesser responsibilities on you, the ideal mix of the money that you can afford to invest after you've paid for your utilities, your needs, and even your wants would be, I'd put about 30% of the money in something called an index mutual fund. These will be mutual funds that are tracking the index. So as the stock market of India grows up, the money will also grow. This is a long-term bet. That's what you would take. I would put about 40% money in select company stocks, and these will be company stocks that are your traditional ones. So you can go for the big ones like the Reliances and the TCS and so on. These are not stock recommendations. These are just names that I'm throwing around, or companies that you believe in, that you feel have some sort of potential and so on. I would put about 20% of your money in US stock market. And there are beautiful ways of doing that, which are seamless, paperless, and very less expensive. And then I would put about 10% money in crypto. I would not put any money in real estate in your 20s. I will not put any money in gold in your 20s. I will not put any money in a fixed deposit in your 20s. I will, of course, encourage everyone to have a health insurance and a life insurance, because these are two very important protection instruments. And I would 100% ask people to have at least a 6-month emergency fund in the event that something goes that you haven't planned for.
Wow, that was just gold right there. Banging financial education only here at indigomusic.com. Thanks to Ankur Warikoo. And Ankur, let's continue this very fascinating conversation. I also want to ask you about, people who just invest in crypto, especially these days, or maybe even stocks. You're constantly looking at your portfolio almost on a daily basis, and it can be a little unhealthy as well. So how do you make that balance, of living life and also ensuring that your portfolio is, growing? But yeah, you shouldn't be, obsessed with it.
Look, I'm not a big believer in human intrinsic motivation. I think that that's a very weak enemy of ours, and I will not rely on human intrinsic motivation to do anything. So if you've made an investment and you've made an investment for the long term, The best thing that I would propose is, one, delete the app after you've made the investment. So the only way you access it is through the desktop or the laptop. Change the password and share that password with your partner, your parents, or whosoever that you can trust blindly, and ask them to not share it with you. So there is no way that you can look at that without you asking for it from someone else. It's just going to create that friction that you don't get married to that idea and obsessed with it, in your own words. Because that, I so agree with you, Melbin, it's just paranoia and it's not healthy. It's just not healthy. It's like checking your Instagram to see how many likes and followers you've got. It's not healthy. I wouldn't recommend that. And don't fight it through motivation. You're not going to get it. Just be brutal about it. Delete the app.
Delete the app and throw away the password. All right, I wouldn't have expected that, but great advice there. And also, there's some beautiful quotes on money over the years. We've heard so many of them, and you also brought it up just today. One of them would be, if you can't make money while you are sleeping, you will never stop working. So do you have any other quotes that you would, maybe just one that you would like to share with us?
I think the big one that I already shared is, be respectful of money. Money has very different motives and objectives in everyone's life, and it's a very personal relationship, as I said, that everyone has. Be respectful of the role that money plays in your life, whatever role it plays. Don't dismiss it. Don't think you've conquered it. Don't become a slave to it. Just be respectful of that, as you would be respectful of any other meaningful relationship you have in your life. This, I feel, is a very powerful way of looking at money, which is usually considered to be an object and is largely objectified for good or for bad in today's pop culture. Just be respectful of it. That's it.
Okay. All right. Putting you in the spot a little bit now, Ankur, 3 stocks and 3 cryptocurrencies that you would buy today in a heartbeat.
Oh, that's definitely something that I avoid doing. But if you put a gun to my head, 3 stocks that I would surely buy for the next decade. One would be Reliance, the second one would be TCS, and the third one would be between a MRF and an Asian Paints. These are market leaders, great companies, great financials. I believe in them. 3 crypto, there would be, 4 if I have to. I would definitely, if I have to make a crypto portfolio, and that's mine, it's 40% Bitcoin, it's 40% Ethereum, and it's 20% Solana and 20% Cardano. And those will be the only 4 that I will own, nothing else.
Nothing else. Okay. Well, I think a lot of the crypto fanboys may be a little disappointed or maybe excited. You'll never know. But all right. Also, time for a rapid fire round, a quick one right before we let you go. 3 books you will put your money on. 3 books that you've already read.
One, Psychology of Money. It's a terrific book to understand how money works. Again, in the context of money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Brilliant book, great start. And outside of money, one book that I strongly feel everyone should read is a book called Rework, R-E-W-O-R-K, Rework.
Right. All right. And your next question, if YouTube creators were like stocks, who would you invest in, apart from yourself, of course?
I would only invest if I had the money and I'm tradable. I would put all my money on myself.
All right, so.
100%. No, but if I have to, then I absolutely feel that PewDiePie is a rock star, and it's incredible what he does and the consistency with which he's done it. It's easy to look at him as 100 million subscribers and blah blah blah, but he started literally 12 years back. It's commendable how consistent he's been. Inspiration.
Wow, you really are all about the established and not really the penny stocks, right? It really is about the established players. All right,
Consistency,
yes. Another question for you right now. I know this may have changed, but in the early days, it was always buy a house over rent a house. But what would you say today? Rent a house or buy a house?
In your 20s, rent a house, because workforce is becoming more and more mobile. Your eventual needs in terms of the area, the locality, the specs of the house is going to only become bigger. So you can't afford that in your 20s. So please rent out. I'd say the best time to buy a house would be after 35. I bought my first house at 39, 2 years back. And I'm so happy that I did that, because now I can afford the house that I think I can stay in for a long time. And all this while I was investing that extra money, just saving for the house.
All right, amazing. I don't feel bad anymore. I thought I sort of missed the boat a little bit. But okay, the most valuable thing you own.
Oh, there's so many. Can I talk about the thing that really drives me is a pen and a paper. I will always have a pen and a paper with me, because I'm always making notes and always thinking in pen and paper and script. So it's not something that is valuable in that sense, but it is immensely precious.
Absolutely. I think that was a wonderful answer. Loved it. And your final question, Ankur, 3 skills to learn before you're 30.
Oh, incidentally, I created a video on that yesterday. Number one,
Okay.
Your relationship with money. You need to know how to manage money. It is a critical life skill to have. Number 2, the art of storytelling and communication. If you cannot communicate what's inside your head is useless, frankly. And number 3, your ability to become a student whenever you have to. The world's rapidly changing. You are not going to have anyone teaching you what you ought to learn. And every 5-10 years, you will have to learn something new. So if you know what it is to learn something new without someone's help, you are gold. And those would be the 3 skills that I would advise everyone in their 20s to take on.
All right, lovely. And what about for the rest of us who are over 30 who've made a lot of mistakes, like me? I mean, any advice for us who are in our late 30s?
that makes it me as well. The way that I look at that, Melbin, is don't look at the years that have gone by. Look at the years that are left, because there are still a lot more, and we're blessed with that, at least probabilistically. So I would always say, hey, if I had $100 and I've already lost $20 or $30, I'm not going to spend the remaining 60-70 trying to look for the 20-30. I'm going to spend those 60-70 in just making myself more meaningful and content. And that is the way that I would look at life as well. It's gone. We made our mistakes. Hopefully we learned a lot from it, but now we have several more years left, and I want to make the most of it. Don't want to be listening to someone. Don't want to be doing something that I don't want to do. Definitely don't want to be unhappy doing whatever I'm doing.
All right, lovely. Ankur Warikoo, thank you so much for joining me. I already feel a lot more enriched than I was half an hour ago. This was spectacular, wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this for us, and all the very best to you.
Thank you so much for having me. All the best.